Okay, so out here we're running the smaller system. Whoops, I just turned everything off. I was trying to turn on the display. The second test is because we robbed the big system from here to take over to the house, we're now using the smaller EcoFlow. So thanks, Jimmy. So the last time you saw, we only had one panel installed. We were doing our janky wiring to the house. Now the wiring is slightly less janky, but we have 3 panels. So more power, baby. There's storms off in the Atlantic right now, so we're still getting a little bit of wind over here, a little bit of rain. Luckily no hurricanes for us though, so far this year. So I wanted to show you guys what we're working with, because I think it's really cool. It's not the most cost effective, but it's middle of the road and it's really high quality, and I've been really impressed with it. So like we talked about before, this is the Integra rack, and each piece comes on its own with a vertical upright that slides into a horizontal piece that allows you to essentially expand forever with any size panel. It's really, really cool. You slide some conduit in and it ties it into itself. Eventually we will bolt these down. And one thing I wanted to show you guys was I got these camping stakes off of Amazon, and they are the perfect size to fit these holes. And what that will allow me to do is come in here and anchor these down just by twisting, and it gives you a really nice grab to the earth for something that's semi-permanent. I didn't want to go with big ground anchors or any epoxy because that's very permanent, and we're still figuring out where we want all this stuff long term. So as you can see, that grabs the aluminum really nice, and it's a really solid anchor. These are like 12 bucks, so I thought that was awesome. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but simple because of the style system that we're using. We're using the Anker F3800 for bigger power, and because of that, we're very limited on the amount of voltage that the system can handle. It can handle 2 channels, 1200 watts each, up to 60 volts. That's a really low amount of voltage, which forces us to put the panels together in parallel. So that increases our amperage while maintaining the same voltage across the panels. These are 48 volts, and what we end up with by connecting 3 of them in parallel is 27 amps, 1065 watts at 46 to 48 volts. The way we're able to put all these together is with a pair of triple connectors. All the negatives go into one, all the positives go one, and then we have one run of 10 gauge MC4 line going to the house. For now, we're just figuring out if the location is good. You can see we're getting great sun in the late afternoon. It's almost 5 o'clock and we're getting nearly full sun. So this looks like it's going to be a really good location for us. We just have the wire running to the house, going through a hole that I drilled earlier. We will do conduit once we're satisfied with everything and we're sure that we're not going to move anything else around. If you're wondering what's taking so long for these updates, it's because our help is busy soaking up the shade.
Hi, hunters.
Hi, honey. Now we're inside, and the cool thing about these all-in-one units is that it's just that. It's an all-in-one unit. So my entire solar system is that right there. Right now, like I said, it's late in the afternoon. It's almost 5 p.m. We're still bringing in almost 600 watts, and we're currently using 255, right? So that number for output will surge because we're running 2 refrigerators. We have this refrigerator and our main house refrigerator. So If it's not cycling the compressor, it's 15 to 20 watts. When everything's running, we might be pulling about 600 total off of here. So I think this is more than enough to sustain a 24-hour period as long as we're getting sun. Once we have all 6 panels. Right now with only 3 panels, it's probably gonna be a little bit much for it to get through the night. So what I'll end up doing is shutting off the garage circuit, switching it back to house power, and running just the main refrigerator circuit through the night. Some stuff we want to do to clean this up is get a shorter extension cord. This is my really long generator, 30 amp extension cord. So it works, you know, but it's kind of clunky and it looks messy. So what I actually ordered was the very short EcoFlow double voltage hub adapter. It's essentially a 30 amp extension cord and it's just a few feet long and it's black. So it'll blend in a little bit nicer and we'll have all this extra mess over here. Primarily we got this to run the shop. And we've been running the shop over there for about a year now and it's been great. But this is a really large unit and so it consumes a lot at idle. Just having the inverter on, and in the shop we're just powering the garage door, a couple lights, the occasional fan and TV. So this was a little bit much for that. And what we were trying to do is pay ourselves back a little bit while still being prepared for an emergency. This is our emergency backup. But if we can power at least 1 or 2 circuits in the house, it'll allow us to slowly pay ourselves back while being prepared for storms and stuff like that at the same time, which is really cool. The reason the F3800 stands out from some of the other ones is you actually have a 50 amp plug. Even though it doesn't put out a true 50 amps, the 30 amp and 50 amp plugs on other channels, they did a lot of tests for surge loads and things like that, and this powered more than the Delta Pro Ultra and other similarly sized large units from its competitors, and that's what made us go with this one. The expansion batteries are insanely expensive though. That's the struggle. When you buy it, you can get a bundle for the unit and 1 extra battery. This has 3,800 watt hours, this has 3,800 watt hours, and that's not bad, but you really want to have probably 1 more battery for a setup like this to run a few things overnight, because you figure 12 hours without sun, a couple hundred watts of load, you'll burn up this system really quick. For now, with 3 panels installed, we're just going to focus on running the fridge circuit in the kitchen and the occasional battery charger out here. And we're going to do that for a few weeks and see what our realistic usage is overnight with the idle draw from the large unit and our fridge running, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so sun is setting. We still have a little bit of ambient light, but mostly no power coming in. And now the test starts for here and the garage to see just what this does overnight, how it holds up to the usage, and we'll find out if the small one in the shop will be okay now that we robbed the big system and bring it over here. So we'll see. The second part of our test is running the smaller system out here overnight. We do have 1 panel that catches a little bit of sunset, but for the most part, we're on battery for the rest of the night. Have some work to do, so we'll see how it holds up. Sun is coming up outside. It's like 6:30 something, 7 o'clock. Made it through the night. Currently pulling 126 for the fridge, plus the inverter draw down to 66%. It says it'll last another 26 hours. That fluctuates a lot because the compressor turns on and off for the fridge. So now we want to see if the panels are enough to continue running the fridge and overcome the draw enough to fill the battery back up to 100% during the day. So the time is 7:30 a.m. You'll see the sun starts to come up over there. So I'd say within an hour or so, we'll start to get actual sunlight on the panels that registers for power. During the summertime, it's a little bit more over there. The wintertime, it goes farther that way. So we should still catch pretty early sun on those panels. So now it's 9:30. We're getting a couple hundred watts of input. The sun's coming straight over these panels. So for the next 5 or 6 hours, we'll get pretty full sun, and we'll see if we can generate enough to get the batteries charged back up to full. I doubt that we'll see a full battery today, but if we can get it to at least 60-70% and then have some sun tomorrow, we'll be back to full in no time. So yesterday it rained all day and had crazy cloud cover. We barely generated enough solar to kind of stay even on the power station with what we were using. So we went into the night of day 2 at 65%, woke up this morning at 29% battery left. Okay, so a little bit of an update here. We've been running the fridge on this with 3 panels since Friday morning, early afternoon. And we've had brutal days of rain and overcast, so we've not been able to get much sun in, and it's been taking about 30 to 33% of the battery to run the fridge overnight. The output's minimal now, but it surges when the compressor kicks on. So being that we don't have enough battery, I don't think, to make it through the night, and we have an update that's due for the Anker to reduce its idle consumption, we're gonna call it here. So we made it from Friday morning to Sunday night. Started out about 95% full on the battery, and Sunday night about 9 p.m. we're calling it with 26 left, just so we can recharge to full, do an update, and then try again during the week.